No one wants me. I need a husband. The Navajo woman's words hung in the September heat, desperate and dignified at once. She'd walked 12 miles across harsh New Mexico scrubland to ask a white ranchera, stranger for marriage. Because exile from her tribe meant death, and she'd run out of options. Ezra Cole studied this woman proposing a transaction, her labor for his name, survival for both. The year was 1886. The territory didn't forgive difference, and what she was asking would make them both targets. But as he looked into eyes that held courage, fighting desperation, he realized something profound. Sometimes the people society throws away are exactly the ones worth keeping. This wasn't romance, it was necessity. Until it became something neither of them expected. Ezra Cole had chosen solitude deliberately. His ranch sat 12 miles northeast of Farmington, far enough that visitors were rare and neighbors non-existent. At 34, he'd spent 8 years building something modest but functional, 200 acres, a sturdy cabin, 40 head of cattle. The September when he saw Helen figure, walking with purpose, across the scrubland separating his property from Navajo land. She wore traditional clothing, faded but well-maintained. Her stride carried difficult resolution rather than casual intent. Ezra waited, hand resting unconsciously on his rifle. She stopped 10 feet away. Her eyes met his directly, desperation, fighting with dignity. You are the one they call Cole. Her English carried careful precision. I am, and you are? My name is Ayesha. I have come to ask you something I would not ask if I had any other choice. Ezra studied her, perhaps 25, high cheekbones, strong features. But beneath the composure, he recognized recent grief. I'm listening. My husband died 4 months ago. We had no children. In my tribe, a woman without husband or children. She stopped. I will be exiled. There is nothing for me there now. Ezra's jaw tightened. He understood exile meant death. I'm sorry for your loss, but I don't see how. No one wants me. The words came rushed. I have asked the widowers, the unmarried men. They see a woman who could not give her husband children. Bad luck. Cursed. Her hands clenched. I need a husband. Any husband. Even. She didn't finish. Ezra heard the unspoken. Even a white rancher. Even you. You don't know me. He finally said. You don't know what kind of man I am. I know you trade fairly with my people. I know you live alone. And perhaps. She lifted her chin. Perhaps you are also someone no one wants. The observation struck closer than Ezra cared to admit. Estrategizou condensação mantendo elementos narrativos essenciais. Preciso condensar este capítulo mantendo os elementos essenciais, a conversa dentro da cabana, as condições de Ezra, a resposta de Ayesha e o aperto de mãos. Vou focar no diálogo essencial e cortar descrições extras. Ezra gestured toward the cabin. Inside, he poured water into 2 tin cups and sat across from her. Tell me what you need. Plainly, a marriage. In the eyes of the law. I will work for my keep cook, Sue, tend animals. I will not be a burden, and what do you expect from me? Protection of your name, a place to sleep, food to eat, nothing more. Her expect non lit survival. Ezra turned his cup slowly. 8 years alone had seemed like freedom after the war, but lately, the silence had weight. People in town won't like it, he said, white man marrying a Navajo woman. We are both people others whisper about. Perhaps that makes us suitable. Despite himself, Ezra almost smiled. You understand this would be permanent. I don't believe in divorce. My people do not either. Ifuax, Teth. He studied this woman who'd walked 12 miles to propose to a stranger because exile was worse than uncertainty. There was courage in that. I have conditions, Ezra said. You keep the house, as you see fit. Your wages are half of everything this ranch produces kept separate, yours to do with as you please. You're free to practice your beliefs, speak your language. And you're free to leave if you can't abide this arrangement. Ayesha's eyes widened. You would share your property with me. As equal, you'd be my wife. That means partnership, far as I understand it. Her composure cracked briefly. Why would you do this? You do not owe me anything. My father said that how we treat people when we don't have to is uni del pride. Men in town would call you foolish. They already avoid me for not fighting for the Confederacy. He extended his hand. We do this proper. We go to Farmington tomorrow, get legally married, then we figure out how to strangers build a life together. Ayesha placed her hand in his. Her grip was strong, warm. Thank you. You are saving my life. We're saving each other, Ezra replied. The clerk at Farmington Courthouse stared like they'd requested something obscene. You're sure about this, Cole? Henry Chambers made no effort to hide his disapproval. I'm asking for a marriage license. Same as any couple. This ain't like any couple. The law says any two people of age can marry with proper documentation. Ezra leaned forward. So you can either do your job, or I can explain to the territorial governor why you refuse to follow the law. Chambers yanked the forms from a drawer. Don't expect folks to be happy about this. I've never expected people to be happy about much of anything. They were married 20 minutes later by a circuit judge who asked no questions. Leaving the courthouse, Ayesha's hands trembled. You all right? That man looked at me like I was dirt beneath his boots. What you are is my wife. Legal and proper. Whatever else people think doesn't change that fact. The ride back took 3 hours. As they approached the property, Ayesha spoke quietly. In my tribe, there is a saying, the one who walks beside you in darkness sees the sunrise with different eyes. I think you understand darkness. Ezra didn't respond immediately, lost a lot of men in the war. Came out here to forget, but forgetting's harder than running. What's your darkness? I loved my husband, but I could not give him children, and that failure consumed me. When he died, part of me was relieved. That shame is my darkness. Shame's a heavy thing to carry alone. Yes, she agreed softly. It is. 3 weeks later, 2 men blocked Ezra's path outside the general store. Lewis Garrett and his brother Frank. Heard you married yourself a squaw. Cole. Lewis's words were slurred. Heard you still can't hold your liquor. Garrett. Get smart. What you done? What I do on my property is my business. It's the town's business when you bring shame. By what? Marrying a woman. Filing proper papers. Following the law. Ezra stepped closer. Or is your problem that I'm treating my wife with more respect than you've ever shown yours? Frank moved forward, fists clenched. You got a lot of nerve. Easy, Frank. Marshal Samuel Wright emerged from the store. I think this conversation's over. Sam, you can't seriously approve. What Cole's done is marry a woman in accordance with territorial law. Which part of that would you like me to arrest him for? The Garretts backed down. Wright turned to Ezra. You're making things difficult for yourself. Didn't realize living my life required everyone's approval. It doesn't, but folks are talking. Some could turn dangerous. You watch yourself. That evening, Ezra told Ayesha about the confrontation. You could send me away, she said, before this becomes worse. No. Ezra, I don't bend to bullies. And I don't abandon people who depend on me. You're my wife. That means something. It means you will be hated. I've been hated before. He paused. Question is, can you? Ayesha set down her mending. My grandmother told me that courage is not the absence of fear. It is deciding that something else matters more than fear. I am afraid, but I will not let fear make me ashamed of gratitude. Something shifted. The careful distance began to feel less necessary. Your grandmother sounds wise. She also said the strongest bonds are forged in fire, not comfort. Ayesha smiled slightly. I think we are being forged. Winter arrived early, November bringing snow that transformed the landscape. Inside the cabin, Ezra and Ayesha developed rhythms that felt increasingly natural, working through tasks with growing efficiency, evenings in comfortable silence or quiet conversation. The town continued to disapprove. But disapproval proved impotent against the simple fact of their existence. On a cold December evening, Ayesha prepared traditional Navajo food while Ezra repaired harness leather. I have been thinking, Ayesha said. Abul. About how something born of desperation can become something else. She turned to face him. When I walked to your ranch, I saw only survival, a transaction, but now I see a home. A partner who values my opinion. A man who defends my dignity even when it costs him. You've earned all of that. That is not why you defend me. You defend me because you believe I deserve dignity simply by being human. She paused. That is not something I expected. Ezra crossed to where she worked. I didn't expect to find someone I actually enjoyed talking to. Someone who makes coffee better than mine and can fix a fence line without being told. He smiled slightly. Seems we both got more than we bargained for. Is that acceptable to you? More than acceptable. He spoke the truth, growing for weeks. This stopped being an arrangement and became a marriage, actual marriage. Ayesha's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling. Yes, I feel that too. They stood while snow fell outside, to people who'd found each other through need, but stayed through choice. My grandmother said that true strength is not conquering others, but accepting yourself. And true love is helping someone else do the same. Ezra took her hand. Your grandmother would have liked this, you think? She would have said we were foolish, impractical, going against the natural order. Ayesha squeezed his hand. And then she would have said that the best things in life usually are outside. The New Mexico winter raged. Inside, to people rejected by their worlds built their own, founded not on blind tradition or fearful prejudice, but on something simpler and more profound. The choice to see each other clearly. To accept without reservation. To prove that humanity transcends every label society assigns. It wasn't the marriage either had imagined. It was better, real, earned, and entirely their own.